confirm some information or anything else like that. So we are going to be recording this this meeting. All right. So go ahead and take a look around. Make sure that you're in a space that you're comfortable. If you need to get some water, I got my glass of water right here. If you want to get a nice little blanket and kind of snuggle in, go ahead and do that. If you want to grab some paper and a pen so you can write down any questions as we go through this, feel free to do that. I will give you time to ask those questions towards the end. So I'll give you a few moments just to do that. And I'm going to jump back over and try to fix the Jamboard if I can do that. It might have actually closed out. Let me see. Okay. Let's see here. There we go. It should be back up and running. And just if somebody can click on that or go in there and see if that is actually up and running, that would be great. Go ahead and reshare the Jamboard for those folks that are just joining us. And you should be able to go in there. And what we're doing is we're putting on the different foods that we want to eat. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here. All right. Well, I'm not exactly sure if this will play, but we'll try.
Not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct,
but it's wordy and hard to read. It undermines the writer's message.
Brian, you see me?
I can't see you now.
It says, okay, there I go.
Can you all hear this?
I don't know what I did, but I did something. I think that the EF tour helps kids be willing to try new things and do new things and be more accepting and willing to explore new cultures and new people, because I can see her blooming. I can see her little bud and her bloom getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
You know, as parents, like you're writing checks for all these things that you do, soccer plays, show choir, whatever it is that you're doing. This, to me, when I look back now that my kids
is the echo gone there?
Is the best thing we did for our kids.
The kids are really very much experiencing things that we as a family could not create on our own in some cases, because we just don't have that kind of access.
It's certainly worth it. And I mean, the price is real. That's what it costs to get to Europe, get to South Africa, get around the world, to eat and have bus transportation and to do things. So of course it's going to cost.
But then you think about it, you know, well, we're paying this over the course of many, many months. Yeah, we can handle this.
The payment plans were awesome because it made it affordable. It made it reasonable.
Paying on the trip at the beginning really was almost like I didn't even see it and feel it, and I appreciated that.
It was just so easy to decide the payment options, to have the capability of having friends and family, you know, help fund the trip.
Empowers us to be able to give our child an experience that we know that will help them become, you know, a more rounded person, a more complete person.
I wanted her to practice those skills that I hope that I taught her in independence and being self-sufficient and making decisions for herself.
It's feet on the ground learning the whole time you're there. You're learning about food, culture. You're learning simple things like how to navigate an airport, how to deal with people who are grumpy, how to take care of yourself, find yourself a snack.
Set their own alarm, wake up, get dressed, pack their bags, and be ready to be out by a certain time.
Money exchanges and how to deal with money and how to flush the toilet in Venice, or what to expect before you get off the bus. And those are the things that middle school, high school kids need to know right away.
The ability to go and experience things is great growth. It's an investment for life.
Check out this Verbo. Oh man, look at me. Here I am.
All right. Let's go back to there we go. All right, so basically that video was really talking about the different things that the students are able to really kind of grow from these trips. I know that there's a couple folks that are here. Their students have been on some of these trips before. I've personally have, I just got back from a trip that this company does, actually from Paris. And it was phenomenal. Even I felt like when I came back, I had grown a bit as well. Just being able to experience things. I think the biggest thing for me was I had seen all these places on TV and videos and pictures on YouTube, TikTok, all of these different things. And here I was there actually seeing this in person, and that was something awe-inspiring for myself. You know, just eating the food and walking by the Eiffel Tower and seeing, you know, Notre Dame, and being able to actually, you know, see that they're reconstructing something that a couple years ago almost burnt down to the ground. And, you know, seeing how much that even though there was that damage to it, it is still a beautiful, beautiful building. So that was just some of the takeaways that I got to have from just my training trip that I had with them. So we are going to Paris, France. Now we're going to be there for 8 days. 2 of those days are going to be travel days going out. So we will actually be in Paris running around for 6 days. Okay. And this is really exciting because we originally had our trip planned for 2 different countries, and we decided to kind of narrow it down to the 8 days. One, cost. It was more cost efficient for us. And 2, this allowed us to do 1 day where we got to do something extra special, which I will talk about here in just a little bit. So I'm really excited about this. And for you Disney fans, you'll be really excited too. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about we're going to introduce this program to you guys. We'll talk about the company, what our itinerary is, where are we going, what are we going to be doing, what's included in this package, we're going to talk about our travel partner, safety and support. That's also key thing. I know parents, you guys want to make sure that wherever we go, we are going to be safe. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then last but not least, we'll talk about the price, how to enroll. We'll also talk about how to get it paid for. And that means not just out of your pocket. And I think that's also very, very important too. Okay. And then I'll open up the floor for some questions. So if you have some questions as we go along, make sure you write them down, jot it down on Notepad on your computer or on your phone. You can write it down on a notepad, whatever it is that will help you remember what those questions are when you come up. If you have any questions after this, okay, you can reply back to the email that I sent out to everybody. And you should be able to reply back, and that'll go directly to me, and I can actually ask you any questions. Also, our tour coordinator, her name is Emily. She's going to be reaching out to you guys in the next 24 to 48 hours as well. And any questions that you might have that I may not be able to answer, and I have to direct you right to her, you'll be able to ask those directly to her. So you'll have her information to contact as well. All right. So my name is Jeremy Crum, or better known at Palm Beach Central as Chef Crum. And then Miss Erin Tazi. Now, please, if I'm saying your last name incorrectly, please let me know. Okay. But Miss Erin Tazi is also going to be joining us on this trip, which I'm really excited about. Erin, have you been to Paris before?
No, I've never been, so I'm super excited to go.
Hold on just a moment. Let me actually turn my volume back up. Okay.
No, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I've never been to Paris. I've never been to France. The only place I've been in Europe is I've been to Italy. Last summer we went, but
they have really good food there.
I've not gone. So.
Yeah, you'll notice something about me. I am a chef, so I am all focused about food. So I always will talk about food.
Mm-hmm.
I travel, and when I travel, I always will find the place to eat. I've been watching. I'm taking another group on a trip this summer, and I have been watching numerous YouTube videos on places to eat in the countries that we're going to. So I will always associate food with my travel. But yeah, Italy is fantastic, and I'm sure you walked away from that trip just awe inspired as much as I did from going to Paris. So I personally have been to Paris now. I've been to London, Canada, Mexico, South America. So I'm very well traveled. Bunch of places within the United States. So I'm really excited to be able to go back to Paris and to share that experience with you guys. And again, why I personally love traveling is just the experience. Like I said before, there is something about seeing something in a picture and then actually being there and experiencing it. For many years in my teaching career, I taught hospitality tourism, and I loved teaching about the culture, and I still incorporate that into my classes with culinary. And I loved just experiencing the different cultures, experiencing and getting to know people in different areas, even within the United States, experiencing the different cultures, going to places to eat that aren't chain restaurants and things like that. I mean, there is a lot of experience out there, and I just want to kind of gobble all that up as much as possible. So that is one of the reasons that inspired me to actually start this travel program, was I wanted to be able to give that experience to other students, to other people as well. And to have kind of be selfish reasons too, is to kind of have some of these experiences myself in other countries that I haven't been to. All right, so the company that we actually use is EF Educational Tours, and that's Education First Educational Tours. And they have been they've been around for over 55 years. They are an accredited school as well. And that's also important to know, because there'll be, like I said before, there are some opportunities for some high school credit and some college credit that we'll discuss. The staff is on the ground 365 days a year in over 50 countries, including offices in Paris, France. And then they are also a world leader in education. They have over 50 different schools throughout Europe that are private schools that they actually run. They are in England and Ireland as well. There's one school that is recently opening up in Japan, and they're starting to open some schools in South America as well. So they are not just a tour company, but they are also a school. So for our destination, we again are heading to Paris for 6 nights. We're going to be seeing the Eiffel Tower. We will fly out overnight to France. When we get there, we'll most likely, and this is how my trip to Paris went. When we landed, it was about 6:40. We met the tour group in the lobby where the baggage claim was. We got everything into the buses, and we got over to the hotel, and we dropped off our stuff at the hotel. We ate some breakfast, and we headed right out into the city, and we did a walking tour of the city. Partly because we couldn't check into the hotel yet, but we also want to make sure that our bodies adjust to the time zone that's there. And if we just continue to go, that's what will end up happening. So we just do a walking tour of Paris. We see Notre Dame, and we get to go and see different places. We walked around some of the cities, and we saw the river. Walked by the Louvre. Now later on, we get to go into the Louvre. Then day 2, we'll do another actual walking tour and another part of Paris. It is extremely large, and we're going to be learning how to use the metro. We'll be able to ride on the subway. They also will have tour buses for us. All of that is also included in the price that I'll be talking about a little bit later. Unfortunately, we won't be able to go inside Notre Dame. They still have that closed down. I was kind of really bummed about that because I love taking pictures of the stained glass. So unfortunately, we weren't able to go in. I did get to go into a couple of other churches and a couple other cathedrals that they brought us by, and I got some really great pictures of stained glass windows that were phenomenal. We're going to explore some Paris, and let me tell you, the local guides that are there, Mona is the guide that I had when I was in Paris, and she was phenomenal. She is originally born in Paris, France, and you ask her any questions and she will tell you. The amount of knowledge that she has is just phenomenal. And then Tristan also joined us a little bit later. He actually brought us on the tour of Versailles, and we were able to walk around there. And I have to say, just the amount of knowledge that he had, he was also naturally born. Oh, it was kind of funny too, as we're walking through one of the parks there, he ran into a couple other tour guides that actually work for EF Tours, and he introduced us to all of them as well. And so they kind of walked around. We got a bonus group of people joining us. So that was kind of cool. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to see the Eiffel Tower. We'll get to go to the top of the Eiffel Tower, and that will be really, really awesome. We're going to visit the Louvre, the perfume factory. So these are all different. And what's really cool about the perfume factory is we're actually going to learn how they make the perfumes there. So if that is something that you're really into, then by all means, you'll be able to purchase some perfume there as well that possibly you even got to make. So we'll definitely be able to spot the Eiffel Tower. We'll go up to it. We're going to go to the top, ride up there. For you parents that decide to come along with us, and yes, you can come, there's some champagne at the top of the Eiffel Tower. So maybe we can sneak some croissants up there or some chocolates and, have a champagne toast and wave to the kids as we drink our champagne and celebrate going to the top of the Eiffel Tower. I'm definitely afraid of heights, so I'm still going to do it. And yeah. So I tried to go on the London Eye when I was in London, and I made it to the top, which was good. I looked around, and then I sat in the middle of the compartment, and I closed my eyes and waited till we got to the bottom. So I will try my best on the Eiffel Tower. That's all I can really say about that. But I did make a bet with my students. And those of you guys that are from Miss Tazi's class, you guys don't know about this, but I did make a bet that if we hit a certain number of students or participants in this particular travel group, I would dress up like Linguini from Ratatouille and travel to the top of the Eiffel Tower. So that is my bet. If we get it and I lose, that's what I have to do. I already lost the bet for this year's trip, which I now have to dress up as Spider-Man while we're in Venice. So I got my costume. So hopefully, I don't mind losing that bet because I like to have the large groups. But if you want to see me dressed up like Linguini with Remy, there we go. All right, so we've got some other cool things that we're going to be doing. Day 5, we're going to explore Paris with a group. Now, we will be going to different shops and things like that. There's a huge shopping center called the Galleries, which is phenomenal. And this is actually where I'm going to jump in with my story about the chocolate. So while we were at the Galleries, I was with another teacher friend who actually spoke French. We walked up to this little chocolate shop there, and she told the chocolatier that happened to be there that I was a culinary teacher and that I not only did culinary, but I also had an advanced baking and pastries class. And he got excited and he asked if I wanted to try some of his chocolates. And I said, absolutely, thinking that he would only give me like maybe 2 or 3 chocolates, right? He went through his whole case and just started picking out chocolates. And I think he had like maybe 15, 20 different types of chocolates. And he just kind of like gave me each piece and explained each chocolate to me. And it was just phenomenal. Like to have that impromptu chocolate tasting was awesome. And those are the kind of experiences that I want the students to have, to be able to have something like that happen. And let me tell you, it's not just because we were teachers. You know, they didn't know that we were, you know, with a tour group or anything like that. We were just there. And, you know, I have to say the best chocolate that I had was actually from Venezuela, which was surprising to me. But it was a ganache chocolate that he had made with 2 different peppers in it, and it was delicious. So that is my chocolate tale. So Aaron, you might really enjoy doing that. I'll have it when we go. I'll have to kind of like lead you to that shop and see if we can't get the same thing, right?
I can tell I'm going to really have to go on a diet beforehand to make room for all this food.
I was only there for 5 days. I gained 3 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we'll have to diet together. All right, so day 6, we're going to take a tour of Versailles, which is awesome. I mean, I joke about going to the Hall of Mirrors. I wanted to go to the Hall of Mirrors so I could look at myself, because it is just full of the mirrors there, and it's just gorgeous. I mean, you stand in the back area and you look out towards the lake, and the lake that was built is just over 2 miles long. And you can see from one end to the other, and it's just absolutely gorgeous there. And I have to say, the weather there was perfect. At night, it was a little cold, got down into the 40s, but during the day, it was upper 60s, lower 70s, nice breeze, beautiful sunshine. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. We're also going to be doing a walk through the gardens of Versailles, which they were breathtaking. I think I took so many pictures there. We're going to be enjoying a river cruise on this inn, and that I didn't go on that trip. I chose to go to the catacombs and go spend some time with dead people. But the rest of the group, they went on that, and some of the videos that I saw from that trip, it was just gorgeous. And at nighttime, the Eiffel Tower lighting up, it's kind of like a clock tower where every hour on the hour, it does a whole light display, which is pretty cool. Day 7, we're going to explore a few more shops, eat some more treats, and then on day 8, we'll be traveling home. So eating treats. This is just some of the food that you'll see there. I mean, yeah, we've got the shrimp and the fries there, but the crepes, let me tell you, the crepes were absolutely phenomenal. And there are little shops, little pastry shops all over the place. It's almost as if they're like, the little pastry shops are the Starbucks of Paris, right? There's the same pastry shop on opposite corners so that you don't have to cross the street to go to the pastry shop. But the food there is just phenomenal. And the crepes, I had a Nutella and banana crepe. It was absolutely frigid cold at that night. It was like 45 degrees when we got done with dinner. I went out and they had like a little crepe cart and we got crepes there. It was nice and warm and toasty and delicious. And I made a mess of myself because they're not that easy to actually eat when you're holding them, but they were absolutely phenomenal and delicious. So this is kind of like where we're going to jump back over and take a look at our board to see if we've got any more. If you haven't already added some of the food that you want to try on the Jamboard, I'll go ahead and post in the chat one more time the link, and you can jump over there and add what food you want to eat while in France on our Jamboard. You'll notice right over there, let me go ahead and show you the picture this tab there. That's there. And right over here is our little Post-it note. You're just going to click that, okay? And you'll just type in what you want to eat. And I'm messing that up, so let's go ahead and do this properly. Chocolate. I'm going to change that to green. There's not enough green on there. I'm going to go ahead and save that. There we go. I would love to eat some more chocolate there. All right. And we're going to go back over to our slide presentation. All right. So for our 8 days of travel, we do how the company does this is that they set it up so that there's a block of time. And as we get closer to that date, we'll have more definite dates. The reason why they do this is because they're trying to kind of match us with other groups so that we're traveling together. So yes, if our group is small, we will travel with other groups, but our goal is to have a large enough group that we can actually do a private trip, and we'll be going by ourselves. That way we can kind of do anything and everything that we want to do. I did miss one thing on our itinerary. Day number 5, if you noticed on our itinerary, we didn't really have anything for day number 5 because that was kind of like a do your own thing day. And on day number 5, what we're going to do is we're going to jump onto the metro and we're going to follow the red line all the way to the end. And where we're going to get out are at the gates of Disney Paris. So we are going to spend the day at Disney Paris. We're going to go see Belle's Castle. We're going to go see Remy in Ratatouille. We're going to eat our way through Disney Paris. I'm going to definitely get me Mickey ears at some point. I saw on TikTok the other day, somebody made Mickey ears out of pretzels. I could definitely go for that. I would do that. Oh yeah. All right. So that's one of the things that was kind of like the top priority for this trip. Not just everything else, but to be able to go and visit Disney Paris, because that is just, it's a phenomenal place. So that is going to be included in this trip as well. So we'll have those flexibilities of the day. Our block, we're trying to hit June 7th through the 15th for our time, but that might adjust. It might be that we leave on the 3rd. Our original trip was supposed to leave on June 20th for this year, but with the scheduling and everything, we actually ended up, we're scheduled to leave on the 18th of June. So we're a couple of days early. We'll find out the exact dates once we get closer to the trip. So here is what is included in your itinerary. Round trip airfare, both to and from, the hotel stay. And let me tell you, the hotel that I stayed in while we were in Paris is the type of hotel. And I kind of requested the same hotel when we get there because it was in the perfect spot. But it ran, for the nights that we were there, it ran about 450 euro, which at that time, it was about $1.10 per euro. So it was quite an expensive hotel to stay at. But those are the levels of hotels that we will be staying at throughout our trip. So the hotel stay is covered. All the regional style meals for breakfast and dinner. And let me tell you, breakfast was phenomenal. I mean, they had cheese and meats and bread and more bread and lots of bread. And then we've got our dinners. We were able to go to a lot of mom and pop places for dinner where they took us and they put together different meals. Now, if you notice that lunch is not included in that, and we are going to be doing some fundraising to be able to have some spending money, which then we'll be able to have money to pay for our lunches. But a lot of times, for instance, we'll be in an area and they'll say, okay, so we're going to stop here for about 2 hours. There's some places to go eat. If you want to go eat, you can go eat. If not, and you just want to get a snack, you can get a snack. But we're going to meet back in this place in about 2 hours at this time. And that's usually what how lunchtime works. That way you can kind of explore a little bit on your own and be able. Now, for our groups, we will be heading out in groups. We'll have some chaperones. So we'll be kind of moving around together so that nobody gets lost. I don't want to leave anybody in Paris. Although some of us might want to stay in Paris, I don't want to leave anybody in Paris. All right. We'll also have a tour director. That's going to be staying with us 24/7. All of our transportation needs are going to be met. They give us tickets for the metro. They have buses for us. They have buses to and from the airport. They'll have tickets for us to go on the metro out to Disney. The expert local guides, that would have been Mona and Tristan. Then we have our guided sightseeing of the destinations that are offered. And usually it's the local guides that come with us for that. And then any of the entrances to the landmarks and attractions. So with that said, what I did was I actually took a look at this particular trip. And while I was in Paris, I kind of did some digging around to look to see how much things were. In Paris, they have what they call the Paris Pass, which includes your transportation on public transportation, entrances to places like the Louvre, things like that. And just for 3 days, alone, it's $700 just for that 3-day pass. And that's included in this package. That's what we're getting with this EF tour. So that's extremely, that right there is a money saver in itself. All right. Now I know I'm giving you guys a lot of information. Are we soaking it in? Give me some thumbs up. Are we still excited about the trip? Do we think about the different stuff that we want to eat? Want to make sure that I still got your attention there. So if you could give me a thumbs up in the chat, that would be awesome. All right. So here is some of the responsibilities that you guys have, and that's going to be your passports or visas, if you're able to use your visas, any baggage fees, tips for the local guides, bus drivers, tour directors, snacks, and then the lunches. Now, the tips, they give us kind of like the estimated amount per day, what would be appropriate. And again, all of those things, we're going to be working on doing some fundraising so that it can be included in this trip. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along, and actually kind of get into the more details of that. I'll also be holding meetings throughout the year that we're planning. That way, we're still in contact. It's not going to be just sign up for this trip and I'm not going to see you until the airport, right? We're still going to be doing some meetings. I've been doing lunch meetings with my students as we prepare to go on this year's trip. We'll be doing the same thing with the students that are going. We'll do some dinner meetings all together as well with parents and students. And that way we can really dig into the information that I want you guys to have. And I think that there's a lot of important information, especially for those of you that have never been out of the country. There's some tips and tricks that I'll be sharing with you guys as we go throughout this. Some articles that I'll be sharing with you. Also, for those of you that sign up, I have a remind, and then I'll have you join that. That way I can send you the links to the different articles. We can set up meeting times. And that kind of separates it out from me using the email with the school system. And that way it kind of keeps that separated so that we're not getting too involved with the school system there. If you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and write those down, and I'll give you guys an important time to actually ask those questions. So why I particularly wanted to partner with EF Tours? Well, one, they are phenomenal for safety. Every person that I talked to that had used EF Tours couldn't say anything really bad about them when it came to education. There was so much stuff that I learned just going on this trip during the spring that I just walked away thinking that, I just knew anything and everything I could possibly know about France, which I know is not true. But I mean, there was just so much stuff, and the support. We did do some COVID tests, and just with that, if somebody tested positive, they were going to make sure that we quarantined properly and that everything was taken care of as far as quarantining goes for COVID if we tested positive. Just the fact that they were there, present, and aware of everything going on. There was a couple of people that were experienced group leaders that came with us, and one group leader had an experience in London, and I don't know if you guys remember this. A couple years back, there was a terrorist attack in the London subways where somebody set off a bomb, and it was really scary. And they happened to be approximately like 4 or 5 blocks away from that area. And the EF Tours was on it. I mean, they redirected them, rerouted them out of the area. They made sure the families were contacted and let all of them know that everybody was safe. I mean, they're just phenomenal. And if you've had experiences with EF Tours, feel free to put into the chat what your experience has been. I mean, just every time that, I've had an interaction with them, whether it's been a group that has gone before, group leaders that have gone before, I've known people that have worked for EF Tours. It's just been a fantastic group. Again, their safety and education for them is really their key. They are constantly making sure that we're safe. One of the things that, as we were going through this training trip, they talked about safety procedures for us to make sure that we didn't get things like stuff stolen from us as we're out in the crowds. They taught us different things to look for pickpockets and stuff like that, and how to keep ourselves safe and how to keep the students that were with us safe and together as a group. So that was really key. Especially, I really appreciated that on, you know, on this trip, because it's one thing to take kids to Epcot or to Disney or to Universal. I mean, that's a closed area. There's cameras everywhere. There's staff. There's stuff like that. You know, that's you can't really go anywhere unless you get outside of the gates, and by that time, you know, you're usually found. But having that safety talk, you know, it really gave me that peace of mind, and I want to be able to share that with you guys as well. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the education part. One, there is an EF personalized learning guide. So as we go, there's going to be different things that I'll be sending you guys, different articles, different things about our trip, things that you might feel that are interesting, might become passions for you guys. You're able to get high school and college credit. Now, for college, there is a fee. I believe it's like about $350. You get 3 college credit hours, and usually we reserve that for seniors that are going on the trip. So they would get 3 college credits for about $350, and most of you guys know that's a bargain for a college credit, because for me, with Johnson & Wales, I think I spent like $450 or $500 a credit. So you're getting 3 credits there. There is a small project that you do in order to get those credits. High school is the same thing. You're able to earn 0.5 of high school credit. That is an general elective credit that you'll be able to do. And they also have an awesome program set up for those of you that want to use this experience to put in your college essay. They have some help there, some guidance that they're actually offering you guys for free with this program to help you write your college entrance essays. Now, you guys, the freshmen, sophomores are probably saying, I'm not really thinking about that yet. But once you get to your junior year, your senior year, that is where you start to really hone in on those college essays, where you want to go, what you want to do, and those kind of things. So this help has been tremendous. If I would have had this kind of help when I was writing college essays, I have to tell you that. I mean, that's just awesome that this company does this. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and move on. And this slide here is just a little bit about some of the changes that you might find as you go on these trips. Your growth mindset, global perspective, you're seeing new cultures, you're trying new things. Yes, I want you to try new foods. I have a rule in my house that we do a 3-bite rule. Now, I got it from Pete the cat because, well, my 3-year-old loves Pete the cat. So there's a whole song about the 3-bite rule. So every time we try something new, we always take 3 bites. So I want to encourage you guys to go on this trip, step outside your comfort zone, try something new, get some personal development going. I mean, just to be able to kind of stretch your wings a little bit and learn and grow is going to be awesome. Here are some of the support partners that you have. Miss Tazi and I, we are the group leaders. Then we have a tour director. That's going to be a person that's going to be with us for 24/7 as we go throughout. We'll have travel support team. They're going to be there to help us and to help you guys being able to stay in contact, keep us safe. If we need to switch our destination, move our hotel, whatever it is that needs to happen. And then our tour consultant, and that would be Emily, who is our tour consultant. She helps us put together our trips, make sure that everything is in order, sending out emails and reminders for turning in passport information and making sure we're getting our payments and all of that kind of stuff. So that's what her position is there. Now, here is some things that they are offering as well to kind of really help out with making sure that you are confident about going. Now, we have the Peace of Mind program, and this provides the group with flexibility to be able to change our trip in case of things like, knock on wood, COVID happens to resurge and we have to postpone the trip. Then we just move that trip to a new date. Or if we need to go to a new destination, we're able to switch and move that to a new destination. And what the really cool thing is I actually had a trip planned back in 2020. We originally started in 2019, and for some reason, stuff started to close down, and we had to move to 2020, and that got canceled, and we had to move that trip. And every time we moved the trip, the cost kept going up, but we didn't have to pay the difference. The Peace of Mind program handled that, and so we didn't have to pay any difference. Eventually, we decided to go ahead and cancel that trip, and then a handful of the travelers took vouchers, and they're coming on the trip that we're going this summer on. So the other thing too is they have a travel protection plan, which is included in your travel. That is going to be the travel insurance. And there's also some travel protection plus. So that main difference between that is that with a travel protection plus, you can cancel up to 24 hours before leaving on the trip for any reason at all. Okay. And you will get your money back minus the deposit and the cost of the insurance. So I think that right there, say, God forbid somebody passes away or somebody is ill or something like that, you'll have that ability to do that for any reason at all up to 24 hours. With the other one, the one that is included, it's up to 45 days. After that 45 days, then there's you'll get a refund, but it won't be the full amount. Okay. There's also a risk-free enrollment period that they're trying out with our particular trip. So you sign up tonight with a deposit, and you have the next 30 days to definitely decide that you want to go on this trip. If you decide within the next 30 days, maybe we just can't afford to do this trip, maybe it's just not the right time, maybe we want to wait for a different destination, you're able to go ahead and cancel, and you'll get your deposit back, 100% refund of whatever money you paid into this trip. So if you paid the deposit and you put some money down, you would be able to go ahead and get all that money back within 30 days of signing up. All right, so a couple of things that they're helping to make this trip happen. One, outside of this slide, we're going to be doing some fundraisers. We do candles. We do, I've done popcorn sales via the virtual popcorn sales where somebody goes on, they purchase the popcorn, and it gets shipped to their house. So we've done that. We've done candy bars. We've done Pampered Chef. So we've done some fundraising that we're going to be doing just to kind of help raise money, spending money, things like that. You have the Global Citizen Scholarship, which is $1,000 off of your trip. You have to apply for that. And when you apply, what you'll do is you'll do kind of like a little selfie video about why you want to go on this trip. You'll turn that in. And last year, there were three people that were from our area, from our region, that actually won that $1,000. So they got $1,000 each off of their trip. There is also a customizable donation page. So I thought this was really cool. One of the things that our consultant, Emily, said to us is she's had students pay for their trip in full through this customized donation page. And what they did, it very much kind of like a GoFundMe. What they did was when they babysat, they said, instead of Venmoing the money for babysitting, why don't you send the money to my donation page because I want to go on a trip. So they were babysitting and they got paid that way. They mowed lawns and they got paid that way. You can do it as payments for doing chores and allowance and things like that. So there's many different ways. Grandma and grandpa wants to donate to your trip and for your birthday, send them the link to the donation page. For Christmas or for Hanukkah, all of the different holidays, you can actually have them donate to that page. All right. And that is for you. 100% of the money that is donated to your page goes to your trip. Unlike GoFundMe and other things, they take a percentage. EF Tours does not. That is totally 100%. Whatever grandma gave you for your trip is going to pay off your trip. So again, we get the itinerary, the logistics, how we're going to go. We covered payments and protections, safety and support, any kind of incident response. If something happens at home, there is a 1-800 number you call. They will get a hold of us while we're on the trip. I make it a requirement that kids at least talk to you guys at least once a day. I know they're going to be busy and sightseeing and everything, but I want to make sure that they're in contact with you at least once a day. And then once you guys sign up and we start talking about logistics and all that kind of stuff, we'll go over cell phone plans, WhatsApp, and all that kind of stuff that we're going to have at our disposal. You'll have my personal cell phone number, so you'll be able to contact me and call me, because whenever I go on these trips, I always make sure that I have the international plan, so that not only my family can contact me, you'll be able to contact me as well. So that's all covered. And then the personalized learning, we covered that as well. The other cool thing too, notice that little book bag that's in the corner? You get one of those. And I don't have mine up here. Mine's downstairs in my I have a little book bag nook that we put all of our book bags once we get home from school. So it's sitting there. So, but yeah, you get a little cool little book bag. I've had mine for 3 years now, and it still looks like it's brand new, sort of, kind of. It's traveled a little bit. All right, so let's talk about how much this is going to cost. And this is the important part. The really cool thing with this is that the reason why I plan so far out and ahead is so that the monthly cost is lower, and to make it equitable for folks to be able to go on this trip. Okay. One of the things that they're offering right now, which does end on the 17th of April, so you'll have a few days to make your decision, is they're giving a $100 discount off of the trip. Okay. So you have the ability to do the payments. But I've also had students sign up for the trip, and they were waiting for tax returns to come. And so once the tax returns came, then they paid off some of the trip. And then they were using their donation page, and that paid off some of the trip as well. So you don't actually have to follow this. You have up until 120 days, I think, if I remember correctly, Aaron, if you remember. I believe it's 120 days to actually have the trip paid off. And that's where we start to kind of do rooming, and you'll have some roommates. Not everybody's going to have their own place unless you upgrade your trip and you have that ability to do that. And that's of course for an extra cost for that, to upgrade your room so that you're either by yourself or if you want to maybe room with a friend, you'll be able to do that as well. Okay. So you'll have your $95 deposit, $157 biweekly, or $338 monthly. If you paid in full with the discount, it's $43.85 for a student and $48.35 for the adult. Okay. Sometimes we take a look at this number and it kind of catches us off guard a little bit. But when you sit down and you map out everything that is included in these trips, this is actually an awesome value for the amount of days that we're going. Like I said before, the hotel that I stayed in was 450 euro for that night. Okay. And so for each night, and I was there for 4 nights. So that's in itself really expensive. The plane tickets, we flew out on United, and the plane tickets alone, when I actually looked those up, round trip plane tickets for the time that we were going was $2,200 for round trip plane tickets. So just plane tickets and hotel, you're already looking at either at or real close to that. And that doesn't include your food. That doesn't include transportation. That doesn't include your entrance. Like I said before, $700 for 3 days for transportation and entrance into the museums. So really, for the 8 days that we're going to be going on this trip, this is actually a really great value. And if you want to take some time and think about it, that's fine. If you want to, if you're a great study and somebody that puts together trips, put together an itinerary and compare it. Just know that the level that they have having a tour guide, that's from that area, having somebody with us that is, our tour director, having the transportation, having the safety there, where if something happens, we're able to quickly move and find new hotels or move destinations or whatever may be. Just having that peace of mind. I really want to encourage you guys to take a look at that, and this is a huge value for the trip. So again, this is a limited time for the trip. Enrollment for this particular price ends on April 28th. Okay. The $100 discount ends on the 17th. Okay. So we'll still have spots open unless everybody signs up tonight or before the 17th. Our goal is 20 spots. Right now, when I was looking this afternoon, I have about 6 spots that are taken. So we have about 14 more spots left. And I was planning on having 2 more meetings with 2 other groups. So we're offering this out. Now, if it gets to the point where we hit our 20 and we still have a large number of students and parents that are wanting to go, then by all means, we'll add to that, definitely. But our actual goal for this trip is to have 20 to 25 students or parents going. And yes, I keep saying parents because you guys are more than welcome to come on this trip. I know that Aaron and I would love to have you. We would love to, eat and be merry in Paris. I mean, that would be fantastic. All right. So if you want to take a picture of the screen that is right in front of you, this is the QR code for the sign-up form. Okay, so you can just go ahead, take a picture of that, and that will directly lead you right to that. Okay, and you'll be able to do that. I will also send out the information for sign-up as well. Okay. And I want to go ahead and open the floor to you guys. If you have any questions at this time, feel free to go ahead and you can raise your hand, or you can just put the question right into the chat, or you can come on in and just ask away. So I want to go ahead and open up the floor to you as it is right now. Is there any questions that you guys may have? Renee, I see that you have your hand raised.
Well, I have a few questions.
Sure.
A few of them were already answered just now. Wanted to know an estimate, how much spending money do you think the kids or the parents should have on hand? Because I just heard that lunch may or may not be included.
Yeah, so that's a great question. What was recommended to me was $60 a day. I did not spend $60 a day. Just because I'm kind of frugal when it comes to my lunches. And I still ate really good. But they recommend $60 a day for the spending money. That includes, buying, if you want to buy gifts or trinkets and that kind of stuff, and lunch.
Okay, that was my first question. My second question is if the parents are able to go, are we stuck with the group the whole time, or is there like an off time, maybe during dinner time, or how does that work?
So that's a great question. We do have some kind of explore Paris yourself time where you'll be able to kind of go and do your thing. So if you and your student wants to go visit something, and it's during that particular amount of time, you're more than welcome to go and do that. Just know that your transportation wouldn't be covered underneath of that. And to give you an example of that, I mentioned earlier that while everybody else was going on the river cruise, I decided to go hang out with dead people in the catacombs.
Right.
That was one of the things that I did that was extra on the trip. So I had to pay my entrance into the catacombs. I had to pay it was like €1.50 for the metro. And it was €26 for the entrance into the catacombs. So I had to pay extra for that because that was something I was doing on my time, which was really cool.
And what my last question is, the money. Is it better to have traveler checks, or would you explain that further on as the year goes on, or?
So don't bring traveler's checks.
Okay.
The way that I actually encourage to have some euros or some cash on hand, and we will make sure that if you're not there, the student is not going to take all of their cash with them. We had a teacher who didn't listen to that advice on the trip, and she lost €900 from a pickpocket because she didn't listen to that. So they're not going to be taking all of their money with them, right? My suggestion is to have a prepaid card. Capital One, Venture, or a lot of the travel credit cards will actually have no international transaction fees. I know my Venture card didn't charge me to actually use it while I was in Paris. So that was great. So you're able to do that. And then you can use the AAA credit card. You can use prepaid. And then you want to actually have a few dollars for giving out tips or things like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see here. I saw somebody else's hand. Wasn't sure. The deposit is going to be $95. I just saw another hand go up and then it disappeared. How do I? Let me see if I can't find the queue. Yes, it's a $95 deposit there. It's amazing how young kids can learn how to use technology. My son just sent me a text message from his iPad, and he's 3. He's supposed to be watching Mickey Mouse right now, not texting me. Eden, did you have a question for us?
Yeah, I was wondering, I know you were saying that, if we can leave during like the allotted time if it's within the time. How far would you say like you're able to go as long as it's within that like time?
Well, one, it depends on who you're with. If you're with your parent, that's up to you guys, wherever you're headed to go. But please always let us know so that we can be in contact with you. But if you're with your buddy or something like that, we try to keep you within a few city blocks, and always keeping in contact with us. Really, and it really depends on your age. If you're a junior, senior, then we kind of have the ability to say, okay, you're going into the galleries, you're going to be over there. That's fine, right? Freshmen, sophomores, I kind of, I don't want to lose anybody. So I think that's kind of important. So if you want to go somewhere, then, feel free to say, hey, chef, we want to go over to this place to eat or whatnot. And, one of us will either walk over there with you guys and drop you off and come pick you up or something like that. But I want to make sure that you guys are safe.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Anybody else want to share with us what they want to eat when they get to France? Creme brulee, macaron. Oh, let me tell you, the macarons there, they're all over the place. They're in the airport. I mean, they're street vendors. Miss Annie, if you want to go ahead and ask your question there.
So, do the hotels have any fitness centers?
Yes, all the hotels that I've stayed in had fitness centers. They didn't have a pool where we were at, but the kind of weather that was going on there, I wasn't wanting to go swimming anyway. But some of the hotels will have pools. The rooms are set up. Some hotel rooms will be there'll be 3 beds. Some hotel rooms will be 2 beds. If you upgrade your hotel room, then you'll have 2 twin beds. And it really depends on our destination. Now we're going to France. So the places that we're going to be staying is going to be very similar to what I stayed in, where I had a large queen size bed that were 2 twin beds put together. Okay. So that you could separate those out. You could sleep in the separate beds. Smaller mom and pop places, and like for instance, we're going to go to Switzerland, and one of the places that we're going to be staying in is a small mom and pop place in a little village. So we may not have that kind of luxury to having, separate beds like that, where we would have to have sleeping arrangements set up in the rooms. So that's also important to know. Any other questions? All right, so I want to ask you guys, how many of you guys are excited about going on this trip and signing up? Because I know I am. I'm excited to go back because I have already labeled where I want to go to eat for lunch, what I want to eat. Definitely going back to that little chocolate shop. And I'm going to have to change my fashion around because I have to tell you what, the people there that are they're fashion forward. I was wearing jeans and t-shirts and I was kind of I'm gonna have to get a cardigan, or I'm gonna have to take my fashion up a notch there. So I'm excited to go. I hope you guys are. I want to again invite you to go ahead and sign up. Remember that you get the $100 off for that trip. For the trip if you sign up before the 17th. And remember also that you have your 30 days too. So if you sign up tonight, something happens, and all of a sudden you have a financial burden come on, you're able to go ahead and get a full 100% refund on your trip if you cancel before the 30th day. Okay, so I want to encourage you guys to do that. I'm going to stay on here just a few more minutes. If you have any other questions, feel free to jump in the chat and put in the chat. You can raise your hand. I'll ask you can ask your question. But I'll go ahead and let you guys go. Again, the sign up form is right there on the screen there. So if you take a picture of that should be able to, especially with your smartphone, you'll be able to go ahead and go right up to the sign up page. So thank you very much for coming this evening. I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to travel with you guys coming up. So have a great evening, everybody. Aaron, there's a place in the galleries at the top where you can go. And when you get to the very top of it, you can see this whole skyline of Paris. Absolutely gorgeous. Scared me to death because you're on top of this building that's 7 stories high, right?
Wow.
But there's a cafe in there. Oh my gosh, the pasta that was in there was so delicious. And they had all of these, they had carrot cake, they had chocolate. Oh, I'm definitely going back there.
So I'm guessing there's a lot of walking involved, right? So that's good because you kind of walk as you eat. So you walk
I
away.
hit 35,000 steps the first day.
Wow.
35,000 steps the first day. Yeah.
Oh, Eden, we're excited that you're going to go.
Yes. Yes. So we will be walking off our food.
Good.
So, and then I think Eden and I are going to hit the gym when we're there.
Yeah, I'll hit it with you. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, got to make sure, because if I gain 3 pounds in 5 days, you know, I don't want to make it 5.
And that's actually pretty good. Only 3 pounds in 5 days. Like
for the amount of food I was eating. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a picture of me in the group that I didn't have food in my hand.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, like, did you like, so you guys went to see them? Did you see the Mona Lisa? And
yeah, so we got to go into the Louvre, which is one of the things that we're going to do. So we got to see the Mona Lisa, which was surprisingly small.
Yeah, I heard it's underwhelming, kind of.
There was a really long line. We got up there, and it was like, it's kind of like standing in the line at Disney, and you're ready to go on this ride, and you get up, and you're like the next person, and the ride breaks down.
Oh gosh.
It's like, no. Yeah, it was. It's so small, and it's like you see it in the textbooks, and it's so big in the textbooks, and it's like you look at it, and it's like, oh. My favorite part of the Louvre was the Egyptian era. So I spent most of my time in that section.
Yeah, I would like that too.
It was really cool. They had mummies and all that stuff. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I read a book. You might have read it too, but I read a book called The Da Vinci Code a long time ago. Yeah. So I've always wanted to go there actually because I read the book. I was like, oh, I want to go see all the things they talked about.
Tristan was kind of guiding us through doing a bus, like we were on the bus going and doing the city tour, right? And so he actually took us to the cathedral where the albino guy kills the nun in the movie. So he actually took us to that cathedral, and we could actually go over there where they had filmed that whole section. So that was kind of cool.
That's cool. I would watch the movie like the day before we go, just to remember everything and write things down.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Well, did we have any other questions that you guys might want to ask before we head off? All right. Well, I really am looking forward to seeing you guys on this trip. You guys have a great evening. Bye, everybody.
Bye. You too, Eden. You're welcome. Have a good night.
All right. Mario, we're going to go ahead and sign out. Have a great evening.
Did you remove him?
I did.
Did he leave?
No, I went ahead and removed.
Yeah, it wouldn't let me do it. I wanted to do it. It was like, you can't remove him, I guess, because it's your meeting, so they you do it. Yeah.
All right, so I'll get that recording here in just a little bit, but I hope I wasn't like talking too much.
No, you were great. You were awesome. Right. And it's funny because one of the moms that was in there, I'm friends with her, Rose White, Cassidy's mom. I don't know if you know. Do you know Cassidy, or did she just sign up?
I think she just signed up. Yeah.
Okay. So I've known Rose for years, and we've gone on vacations together too. So I didn't even know she was signing up, and she had said, "I didn't even know you were going to be here." And so she's actually head of the school police. She's in charge of our